Hi, I'm Tom Ritchie. I'm from the Denver Broncos UK fan group. I've been a Broncos fan since about 2012, so last season were a bit of a strange one as it was the first time that I hadn't seen Peyton Manning with the Broncos, but, Trevor Siemian didn't quite get it done in the end, but there's still a lot of upside into the new season. I mean, the offence can't get much worse than last season, really. It's made a couple of key additions on the offensive line in Ronald Leary and the shout out to the UK Manchester-born Menelik Watson, who's there to boost the Broncos O-line, which is always good to see. And obviously, Simeon's a year older, a year more experienced. He's a beat-out first-round pick, Paxton Lynch, once again, so he's obviously doing something right. And I think we've seen in the third and second pre-season game that he can be a guy to lead this team and hopefully can do better than last year and maybe take us one step further into the playoffs. Obviously, we know what we've got at receivers. Demarius Thomas and Sanders, if he can get the ball into their hands, they can do great things. But obviously the biggest upside for Denver is the defence. They've got Von Miller, obviously, in my opinion, one of the top 3 players in the league, and he can cause havoc at any time. He's almost impossible to stop without holding. And then obviously on the other side of him, Shane May's injured, but huge news that Shaq Barrett's back for week 1. He's been taken off NFI, so he'll be able to fill in the role. And obviously the no-fly zone is the best defensive back group in the NFL, with Bradley Roby, Aqib Talib, Chris Harris Jr. and then obviously Darian Stewart, and at the moment TJ Ward, but come later today it may not be TJ Ward, it may be Justin Simmons, because there's obviously rumours that he could get traded, but even so it's still the best no-fly zone in the NFL. Obviously they did need to improve on the run defence, but they made a couple of key additions through the likes of Pecco and Zach Kerr. But obviously there are some reasons to be concerned for Denver this season. Obviously last season the offence didn't really click. The run game was non-existent after CJ Anderson went down, but CJ's back, so hopefully it's better, but it's an unproven offence really. Obviously Mike McCoy's coordinator should make improvements, but it's still a concern. Can Trevor Siemian really get it done? A 7th round pick, is he really the future of the franchise? I suppose we'll find out this season, but obviously we need to improve on what happened last season, because it was not good enough really from the Broncos, a team who have a winning culture. Then obviously on the defensive side, we need to stop the run game better. So far in pre-season we haven't 100% seen that we can do it any better. Obviously Zach Kerr's a bit banged up, the front seven's a bit banged up. We ended up playing with 2 defensive linemen against the Packers for much of that game. So obviously that run defense needs to do a lot better. And because that's crucial. I mean, the run game, offense were terrible at the run game, and defense were terrible at the run game last season. They're both big areas of improvement that the Broncos need to have. So at the moment they're concerns, but obviously we could see if the Broncos have fixed them in the first couple of weeks. And obviously the Broncos, they need a fast start this season, because the first 4 games, 3 of them are at home. Obviously the home opening night game against the LA Chargers, because then they face a horrible 3-game stretch after on the road after an early bye, and that's going to be very difficult for the Broncos to come away with a group of wins there. And obviously being in the toughest division in the AFC West, be interesting to see whether the Raiders can repeat what they did last year, because obviously they did win a lot of close games, like that one over the Saints where they took a great risk going for 2 points and it came off. So it'd be interesting to see whether they can keep up that run or whether they may fall back a bit this season. But for the Broncos, they've got to be targeting anywhere between 10 and 12 wins. If they get in that range, they should get into the playoffs. I'm not sure whether they'll win the AFC West. The Raiders and Chiefs are 2 very good football teams, with obviously Derek Carr at the Raiders, an excellent young quarterback. But I can definitely see the Broncos reaching the playoffs. It's a necessity really, otherwise we're back to square one and probably looking for another quarterback. But anywhere between 10 and 12 wins for the Broncos should see a successful season into the playoffs. Hopefully we'll be in the Super Bowl and we'll be able to celebrate another trophy, but that's a long shot at the moment. Go Broncos!